Hello students, good to see you. Actually, I can't see you, but you can at least watch this sort of online lecture that I'm making for you. I apologize that I'm missing the first 2 weeks of when our class should be meeting. I actually have some concerts in Colorado, so I'm sorry not to be there, but I wanted to make sure that we got the class started by my making this little video presentation for you covering the material that we would cover in the first class. When I get back, I'd be very happy to answer any and all questions that you have about the course, and if you have any questions about what I talk about today, please just keep them in mind and ask me when I'm back. By now you should have received a couple of handouts that detail some of the things about the class, including the class schedule, what we're going to be talking about each week, and also some of the policies and other things that pertain to this class. And as I said, any questions you have, please remember them, and I'll be glad to answer them when I see you. This is Piano Literature 3. It's the course where we talk about the Baroque era. And I'm looking forward this semester to talking with you about music from this period. Some of it is going to be music that you already know. Some is almost certainly going to be music that you don't know. And I am glad to have the chance to introduce you to some really great music. Let me start the class by asking you a question. Why are you taking this class? The answer might be that it's a requirement. I know for some of you, for undergraduates, it is a required class. You may be taking it because you heard it was an interesting class. I hope that's the case. Let me tell you, however, why I think you should be taking this class. The idea of the class is for you to get to know what repertoire exists for the piano, what there is for the piano. And by knowing that, we can make good, well-informed choices about what repertoire we are going to choose to play. For us as pianists, that's particularly important. We have by far the largest repertoire of any instrument. You could take the repertoire of all the other instruments, cello and violin and clarinet, and just add it all together, and still it wouldn't be even close to the amount of repertoire written for solo piano. So one thing about that, of course, for the most part, that is a blessing. We have a huge amount of repertoire that we can choose from. There's a lot of great music, and we don't have to play music that we don't really believe in or that we don't really love. I think that's not as true for some other instruments. They kind of need to play music even if they don't like it that much, because they need to play something. We can never run out of music, so we can always be playing great music. That's a great blessing. But let me compare our situation to, for example, a cellist. The cello has a lot of great pieces written for it, but basically any professional cellist is, over the course of their studies and their career, probably going to play all of the at least standard repertoire written for their instrument. They don't have to make that many choices in a way, because they're going to learn pretty much everything. For us as pianists, it isn't that way. None of us are going to learn all of the piano repertoire. And when we decide to invest our time in learning, let's say, a specific Beethoven sonata, once we make that decision, it may mean that there's some other Beethoven sonata or a Haydn sonata or another piece that we are never going to play, because we simply won't have all the hours in our lifetime to be able to do it. So I think it's important to really be aware of what the whole menu of options with all the piano repertoire is, so that we can be making good decisions of how to use our limited time. That's one of the particular reasons I want to make sure that you are taking this class and that you are trying to be aware of what all those choices are. Related to that is that I think what most, certainly students do, what many pianists do in fact, is they choose repertoire if they are the ones choosing it. Sometimes their teacher chooses it for them, but really, you're growing up, you're going to choose your own repertoire now. You might choose based on what you heard somebody else play. And many people do that. They choose what they heard somebody else play. That's how they got to know the piece and realized that they liked the piece. That's fine. You may hear a great piece and want to play it. That makes perfectly good sense. The problem is that when everybody does that, we all end up playing the same repertoire. We hear Appassionata, we hear Chopin G minor Ballade. These are great pieces, but everybody